Calaroga Shark Media.
Outbit, outlaugh, outlast. This is Comedy Survivor.
I'm Johnny Mac, and this is the Week 4 elimination show for Comedy Survivor. We placed 16 comedians on an island every week. The Facebook group at Daily Comedy News podcast group votes one comedian off Comedy Island. So far, Amy Schumer, Adam Sandler, and Joe Coy have been eliminated. Still in the game, Jay Leno, Jim Gaffigan, Nikki Glaser, Seth Meyers, Kevin Hart, John Mulaney, Atsuko Atkatska, Sebastian Maniscalco, Tig Notaro, Sarah Silverman, Leslie Jones, Ron White, and Bert Kreischer. The listeners have gone to the Facebook group and they've voted. I'll now tally the votes. Mike votes for Ron White. That is Ron White's first vote of the season. Yvonne votes for Ron White. That's 2 votes for Ron White. Scott votes for Tig Notaro. Mike votes for Seth Meyers. Dylan votes for Tig Notaro. That's 2 votes Tig Notaro, 2 votes Ron White. Barb votes for Ron White. That's 3 votes for Ron White. Nichelle votes for John Mulaney. That's John Mulaney's first vote of the season. Matt votes for Jay Leno. Andrea votes for Tig Notaro. That's 3 votes Tig Notaro, 3 votes for Ron White. Marty votes for Jim Gaffigan. That's Jim Gaffigan's first vote of the season. Andy votes for Leslie Jones with the hashtag SaveTig. Rafi votes for Leslie Jones. That's 3 votes for Ron White, 3 votes for Tig Notaro, 2 votes for Leslie Jones. Richard votes for Ron White. That's 4 votes for Ron White. Lindsay votes for Atsuko Atkatska. Lee votes for Tig Notaro. That's 4 votes for Tig Notaro, 4 votes for Ron White. Aaron votes for Ron White. And Cheryl votes for Ron White. In a shocking out-of-nowhere vote, the Facebook group has aligned to vote off Ron White. Ron White went from 0 votes to being voted off Comedy Island. No one is safe. We'll take the break and we'll come back and look at the analysis. Wow, what a stunning result. The votes are in. Ron White eliminated. He had no votes coming into this week. And then you guys were like, he's out of here. I'm also fascinated by the Save Tig Notaro contingent. Will they become a voting block and align with whoever the trendy pick is to save? Very fascinating. I've seen some people hanging back until later in the week to use their vote strategically. So much fun. Ron White, 6 votes, 4. Leslie Jones, 2. A bunch of others got 1. The AI says Tig Notaro is now officially the recurring alternative and that the backup target often becomes the main target the following week. However, will people sacrifice Leslie Jones to save Tig Notaro? Very, very fascinating. Legacy comics are vulnerable. So far, who's gone out are Amy Schumer, Adam Sandler, Ron White, and Joe Coy, who one time hosted the Golden Globes, so I don't have time for that. The AI says once a name appears, it keeps appearing. So that's interesting because we had a few first-time votes today. Organized blocks win. You don't need the room. You need your people. According to the AI, who looks safe right now? Gaffigan, Nikki Glaser, Kevin Hart, Sarah Silverman, Sebastian Maniscalco. But I'm looking back to last week's AI analysis, and the AI said Ron White was safe and thought the front runner for being in trouble this week was Tig Notaro. Not too far off the mark. The AI's guessed at who is in trouble this upcoming week. Tig Notaro, Leslie Jones, Jay Leno. If the group finally decides it's time to pull the trigger on Jay. And we keep seeing stray votes for Atsuko Atkatska. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the Facebook group. It's Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. You're going to find a cartoon image of me extinguishing the torch of Ron White. In that thread, vote someone off. Please make it super clear that you're voting someone off. All the side commentary is fine, but a nice clear sentence like "my vote is" makes it super easy for me and the AI to check my work. The last thing I want to do is have a voting controversy off a silly once-a-week bit where we're just having fun on Facebook. So let's try and avoid that. Do crystal clear votes Facebook group, Daily Comedy News podcast group. This is so much fun to do. I love putting it together. I don't look at it and kind of trend it. I likely look at it during the week just to be like, oh, look, a couple Ron White votes, but I'm not keeping an unofficial tally until I actually record the show in real time as you hear it. If you're new to all this, I'll give you the names real quick so you can play along at home. Out. Amy Schumer, Adam Sandler, Joe Coy, Ron White. Still in the game. You will vote someone off from the pool of. I'm going to read it in the opposite order today. Bert Kreischer, Leslie Jones, Sarah Silverman, Tig Notaro, Sebastian Maniscalco, Atsuko Kotska, John Mulaney, Kevin Hart, Seth Meyers, Nikki Glazer, Jim Gaffigan, or Jay Leno. That is your Comedy Survivor for week 5. Back in the morning with a normal episode. Stay warm.